И снова здравствуйте, мои дорогие, мной любимые зрители. С вами снова freeGSOdemo, и сегодня мы поиграем в игру под названием Sherlock Holmes, серия преступления и наказания. Так, новая игра. Памяти Небесной Сотни. Память Украинской Небесной Сотни. Честно говоря, я не понял, при чем тут Украинская Небесная Сотня, но не важно. Возможно, это связано с данным выпуском. Ну, в общем, можно показывать участников, как я понял. Судьба черного Питера. Пропустили важных разделов. Вы можете в любой момент открыть журнал. Так. Ну что, оценим игрушку. Детективный значок появляется при каждой новой улике. Так. Подгрузочка. Как вы, если кто-то не понял, то это Ватсон и... Ух ты ж, черт. Холмс, что вы делаете? Так, ладно. Оп, перезарядочка, можно бежать. Тихо.
Holmes, will you stop that?
Он перезаряжается.
You are utterly mad.
Вновь подгрузка.
Stop, Holmes!
Is that you, Watson?
Yes, of course it is. And you almost killed me.
Nonsense. I was aiming for the vases.
Blindfolded?
Сумасшедший.
Watson, quiet, please. I'm trying to concentrate.
Уверенные шаги. Звяканье наручников. Полицейский. Инспектор Лестрейд.
Ah, Lestrade. What is it this time?
He can see me. Well, here it is, and it's a good one, Mr. Holmes. A gentleman by the name of Peter Ceri, also known as Black Peter, has been murdered.
A sailor, most probably.
What happened here?
Oh, Mr. Holmes, how could you?
It's the only exercise I've had all week. A grateful client from Limoges sent me a vase collection this morning. I couldn't think of a better use for it.
You're out of your mind.
Отличное применение
I
расстрелять
missed
вслепую.
4 out of 10.
Given you were blindfolded, that was very good. Can I have a try?
Am I the only sane one here?
I suppose that Watson is right, Inspector. A little brain work would be preferable now. Do please tell us more about Black Peter.
Peter Ceri, born in 1845 and 50 years old. An ambitious sort, he achieved much success in seal and whale hunting around Scandinavia. Retired in 1884 with a small fortune. He invested his money in a property called Woodman's Lee, near Forest Row in Sussex. It was where he lived for 6 years, and where he was found dead yesterday.
Has the investigation already begun?
Yes and no. In fact, this crime is so mysterious that I would prefer you to join me down there.
Неправильно сделано,
Give me
инспектор
half an
Лестрейд.
hour to prepare, Inspector.
Take your time and join me there. I have to go through the yard first. The merry men struck again.
What have they done this time?
They robbed a powder reserve. I'll meet you at Woodman's Lee, Mr. Holmes.
I should help Mrs. Hudson here. I also have several appointments that I must keep this afternoon.
I shall go alone then.
Ну что, по-быстрому обойдем комнату Холмса. Глянем тут что к чему. Можно поговорить с Ватсоном.
My analysis table. It is useful for my work.
Хорошо. Окей. Питер. Кери. Черный Питер.
A map of London and the surrounding area. It could be useful.
Ну, в общем-то, в доме Шерлока больше ничего нет. Мы можем ехать на Бейкер-стрит. Ну, мне нужно переодеться. Вот. Так. Холмс, вы ужасный. Шляпа. Отлично. Вульмансли. Мы находимся на Бейкер-стрит. Честно говоря, не читал ни одной книги Шерлока Холмса, и поэтому, если они будут как-то связаны, мне будет довольно-таки сложно. Ну что, за работу.
Mr. Holmes, I'm over here. Come on.
These footprints appear to be quite large.
Появилась новая улика.
These footprints appear to be quite...
Я понял. Так, пойдем дальше. Так.
Inspector Lestrade, when will you remove my husband's body? It's sacrilegious to leave him here like this.
As soon as we can, Mrs. Keri, I assure you. Allow me to introduce you to Mr. Sherlock Holmes. He's a detective. No doubt you've heard of him. I'll wait for you in front of the cabin, Mr. Holmes.
My condolences, Mrs. Keri.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Do you remember at what time you found your husband's body?
In the morning, at around 7 o'clock, I noticed the cabin door was open, but I didn't go in to take a look, for I knew my husband would not have liked it.
Правильная жена.
At around 10 o'clock, I dared to glance in through the door and... Oh dear.
Да. Что-нибудь необычное этой ночью?
Madam, can you tell me if you saw or heard anything unusual upon the night of the murder?
At 2 o'clock in the morning, I heard a terrible scream. But I thought nothing of it then. He would scream all the time when he was drunk.
Значит, он пил.
Was your husband accustomed to receiving visitors?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, he didn't really have many friends. He lived quite an isolated life here, after his retirement.
Can you please tell me what occurred on the evening of the murder?
Well, Peter got drunk in the evening. He was in such a terrible temper. Usually whenever that happened, he'd stay all night drinking in his cabin before passing out.
Значит, всю ночь он пил. Хорошо. Так. Угу. Камея. Камея. Католические четки. Что же тут может быть еще? Угу. Перчатки. Хватая синица. Чего-то я не вижу. Чего же я не вижу? Угу.
You have indeed suffered a great loss, Mrs. Cary. Nevertheless, I believe it will be less of a burden for you soon.
Yes. Life with Peter was never easy, but he was still my husband.
He was different, wasn't he, when you first met him upon your return from Plymouth?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Oh, my goodness, but how do you know about that?
Сведения о жертве. Черт. Выбрать правильный ответ.
You have indeed suffered.
Yes.
He was different, wasn't he, when you first met him upon your return from Plymouth?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Oh, my goodness, but how do you know about that?
You undertook a pilgrimage to the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela when you were young. That much is evident from the rosary in your hand. The shortest route for the pilgrim from England to Spain is from Plymouth. I believe that you met Peter Cary as a young sailor there, and you married him soon afterwards.
That is indeed what happened, Mr. Holmes. How extraordinary.
Да, я знаю.
Thank you, madam.
Хорошо. Мозолик есть. Хорошо. Так, стоп.
Mr. Holmes?
Мистер Холмс. Интонация ихнего произношения меня просто удивляет. Ладно. Что у нас тут? Тут у нас тут много. Мне нужны следы. Так, сюда не могу пройти. Возможно, что-то здесь. Так, следы. Следы. Ладно, что внутри у нас?
The door is locked.
Wait just a moment, Mr. Holmes, and I'll open it. I locked it yesterday to ensure that no one should enter the cabin and tamper with the evidence.
Методы Лестрейда
good
просто
thinking.
Hello.
радикальны.
What is it, Lestrade?
It seems to me that someone has tried to force it, Mr. Holmes.
Let me see. These scratches are fresh. You're right. Someone tried to force open the door.
I swear these scratches were not here yesterday.
Our mysterious visitor came here last night.
Well, he's not the man for the job. This lock is not a difficult one.
Perhaps he did not have the right tool. What a terrible way to die.
Да, достаточно неприятная смерть. Табачный кисет.
The initials PC have been crudely burned. A sailor's work.
Что, собственно, в кисете?
This aroma is familiar, but to recognize it, I must construct my associations in one picture.
Целую картину, о боже. Труба. Секунду. О боже мой. Хорошо. Вот оно что. Труба. Не совсем ясно, как с этим работать. И что же дальше? Взаимодействие только трубы и... табачного листа. Ага, кажется, я начинаю понимать. Или же нет. Что-то все это как-то очень мудрено. Ой.
Yes, this is a coarse tobacco, quite strong and very popular among sailors.
Вот оно что.
Someone drank from this glass recently.
Зачем второй
Someone
стакан?
drank from this glass recently.
Хорошо.
Rum, a sailor's drink. It seems that Captain Keri was enjoying a drink before he met his death.
Возможно. Сейчас мы попробуем сложить. Полка. Подозрительно пустое место.
This place is not covered with dust, like the rest of the shelf. An object was taken from here. It was larger than a book. A box or a small chest, perhaps.
Что у нас содержится в рюкзаке?
Old navigation
Навигация.
instruments, nothing interesting. Peter Carey's boots. They look to be a size 8.
Отлично, проверим их со следами. Ладно, теперь сам труп.
The weapon fully penetrated the body. The force of the blow was immense. This man is in his 50s, yet he still looks quite strong. Peter Carey was fully dressed. He was not caught by surprise. It is possible that he knew his murderer.
Опа.
This blood is from the pool underneath the dead body. This wooden handle is plain and solid. Peter Carey tried to defend himself with this knife, but he did not succeed.
Блокнот. Интересно.
JHN are probably the initials of the owner of this notebook. The pattern of the blood stain indicates that the notebook was not lying on the floor prior to the crime, but it was dropped into the pool of blood after the death of Peter Carey. These abbreviations mean something, but what?
Так, хорошо.
Peter Carey was impaled to the wall by a whaling harpoon.
Так. Попытка взлома. Прибит к стене. Нет. Нужно строить засаду сегодня, посмотреть, не повторится ли попытка взлома.
Ha! Someone was here yesterday. They attempted to force the door to gain entry.
Интересно. Очень интересно. Так. Ну что, обсудим? Как говорится,
Well,
подведем
Mr.
итог.
Holmes, what do you think?
I think that we are lucky
And why is that?
because of last night's attempted break-in.
Oof, you've lost me.
It is very probable that whoever came here hoped to find the door open. They tried to force it with a knife blade, but they failed. What will they do? Why, return tonight, when they will be better prepared.
Aha! So what do you propose?
We shall remain on the outside, near the window, where we stand the best chance of catching sight of our visitor. Well, gentlemen, ready your pistols. We have a long night ahead of us.
Ну, а я пока что пойду проверю следы. Меньше.
These boots don't match the footprints.
Явно не эти. Возможно, следы взломщика. Ах, да. Мне нужно кое-что спросить. миссис Кери. Миссис Кери.
Is this your husband's tobacco pouch?
I'm not sure. It might be, but he hadn't smoked in a very long time.
Your husband's private papers. Do you know where they are?
There was a small tin box, barely larger than a book. He kept his papers there. It should be somewhere in his cabin.
Thank you, madam.
Отлично. Отлично, отлично, отлично. Что-то у нас тут. Так, спускаемся, спускаемся.
It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Садовник.
It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Что-то у меня пало подозрение на садовника. Они были знакомы.
The murder weapon was probably taken from this rack. The ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn for the years 1878 to 1884. Peter Carey was her captain. Dundee. Hammerfest. It's a whaling map.
Так.
We need to find a good place for an ambush. Perhaps behind Carey's cabin, near the window.
За хижиной Керри.
This window is locked from the inside. I do not see any attempt at a break-in. This looks like the perfect hiding place.
Отлично. Ждем взломщика. Ну, мое подозрение падает на садовника. Там будем смотреть.
Shh. Did you hear that? There's someone there. I'm gonna collar him.
I'll be right behind you.
Police! Hold it right there.
Кто же тут у нас?
All right, my fine fellow. Who are you and what are you doing here?
You're detectives, I suppose. You imagine that I'm connected with the death of Captain Carey. I assure you I'm innocent.
Innocent? And what are you doing in his cabin?
Shall I tell you? You came to retrieve what you had lost after killing Peter Carey, but we were here waiting for you.
What is your name?
John Hopley Nelligan, but I didn't...
Do you deny that you came here yesterday?
No, but yes, it's just that I couldn't...
I'm tired of this. Off we go to the yard. Tomorrow, I'll see that you're put in front of the judge.
What? But you can't! I'm not... It's a terrible mistake!
Enough. You can explain all of that to the judge. You're coming with me to the yard.
But...
In light of recent events, it seems evident that your coming here was unnecessary. All the same, I'm very grateful to you, Mr. Holmes.
You are welcome, Inspector, but please don't be too hard on our young fellow. I would like to question him tomorrow morning.
Да, что-то как-то не вяжется. Возможно, он был садовником. Мы на месте.
Mr. Holmes?
Да.
These are the suspect's belongings. And partner, 1883. To my friend, from R. Dawson. Dawson. I've seen this name before. Perhaps my archive holds the answer. A pocket knife. It was used to force the door of Peter Carey's cabin. A handkerchief with the initials JHN. The notebook that we found on Peter Carey's cabin floor. These abbreviations mean something, but what?
Значит, так. Наружу. Неплохо.
Locked.
Морг. Что я забыл в морге? Ну что, приступим к допросу. Так, давай начнем с золотое кольцо.
The police seized this valuable ring from you. Whose is it?
I didn't steal it from anyone. It has always belonged to me.
The ring's date of engraving is many years ago. You would have been a child then, hardly in any position to receive such an item from a partner. The sea knife was found near Carey's body. Tell me, Mr. Nelligan, did Mr. Carey try to defend himself or to attack you with it?
I don't know. I didn't kill anyone.
Does this notebook belong to you?
Yes. But where did you find it? I did not know. I thought I'd lost it at the hotel.
What do these abbreviations mean?
Oh, no. I beg you, I can't. If I told you, it would only make things worse.
But I will find out eventually, Mr. Nelligan.
Так. Потертая кепка. Потертая кепка. Заплатка. Дорогая ткань. Что-то тут не вяжется. Искусно сделанные пуговицы. Короткие рукава. Мозоли. И шрамы. Что-то тут не так. Тонкая шея.
So, Mr. Nelligan, who is the true owner of the ring?
The ring is mine.
No, Mr. Nelligan. I believe that the ring had belonged to your father.
Oh, but how do you know?
The jacket you are wearing is made of an expensive fabric that only a man of exceptional wealth could afford. You do not seem to me to be a rich man, Mr. Nelligan. Furthermore, the garment is ill-fitting. It is quite clear that it belonged to someone else, most probably your father. With your father gone and taking with him the family's wealth, as a little boy you had to find yourself a manual job, and it was most probably cleaning fish. You cut your hands often while working. I can tell from the scars.
I'm speechless, Mr. Holmes. It all happened exactly as you say.
Это было просто.
Well,
Ладно.
I will see you soon, young man.
Please.
Да. Питер Кери не курил. Нет, 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 нет. Нет, нет, нет и нет. Тогда... Нужно установить, мог ли нетренированный и неумелый человек кинуть гарпун так, чтобы убить им другого человека, проткнувшего его насквозь.
I need to stage a reconstruction. I'm sure that Watson would be happy to oblige.
Ну что, пора возвращаться на Бейкер-стрит. Пока что попробую что-нибудь еще совместить. Книжка Неллигана. Нет, 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 нет. Так, попытка взлома. Неллиган. Взломщик попытался проникнуть, чтобы забрать записную книжку, оброненную им в луже натекшей крови жертвы. Это доказывает вину человека, предпринявшего эту попытку. Может быть. Питер Кери не курил. Ну, думаю, на этом все пока что. Интересно все закручивается.
A spot of whaling, Watson. Would you care to take part?
Are you serious?
No. But we do need to clarify what happened on the night of Black Peter's murder.
A reenactment, then? Is something bothering you?
The sailor's knife, Watson. Why was it on the floor?
Peter Carey attempted to defend himself?
It is possible. But if that is the case, then it alters many things.
I don't quite follow you.
Tell me, my friend, what is the animal closest to man, morphologically, I mean?
Ah, I see what you're getting at, Holmes. You asked me that once before. On the Ripper case, I believe. Do you want to slit some more pigs' throats?
No.
Thank goodness for that.
I wish to impale one with a harpoon.
Wonderful.
Watson, let us pay a visit to our butcher friend in Whitechapel. We require the carcass of a well-fed pig.
And the harpoon?
One of the harpoons on the wall of Black Peter's cabin should do quite nicely. I need to take a harpoon with me.
Так, сначала мы отправимся в Удмансли за гарпуном, а потом в мясную лавку.
That should do it. Now I am ready for the experiment.
Во время переезда как-то FPS подшаливает, скажем так. Ну, ничего. Это первые пару секунд. А, мясная лавка. Вау. Все действительно как-то так эпично сделано. Мне это нравится. Ладно, что там, Ватсон?
Well, here we are in the preparation room. I can't say that I like the smell of it much. What do you intend to do?
To indulge myself in a little experiment. The challenge of lancing a pig's carcass with a heavy harpoon.
A little experiment?
Stand aside, Watson. This might be dangerous. I am not well practiced in this exercise. Yet.
Пока.
Holmes, you should aim for the mark in order to perform the most reliable test.
Точный результат.
Holmes, you should try to aim better and throw as hard as you can.
Да. Нет. Что-то не так. Точно в цель.
This is the best possible result that I could get. Do you see, Watson? Throwing a harpoon and pinning a man to a wall requires either exceptional strength and training or diabolical luck.
If it was luck, then it was a chance in 1,000 that night.
Well, yes. Let us leave now.
All right. But before we go, I suppose I'll have to pay for all these carcasses you've happily mangled.
Very well, but please hurry.
Of course.
Как хорошо, однако, вошел гарпун. Ладно. Усилия. Если требовались усилия, то мальчик это не мог сделать. Нужно было быть очень сильным, чтобы проткнуть человека насквозь. Для этого понадобится и мастерство. Двое вместе добились бы того же результата. Маловероятно, что нетренированный и неумелый человек мог умудриться привести Питера Кери гарпуном к стене. Да, это действительно так. Так, ладно, нужно еще улики. Да, нужно поговорить с ним. Да. Мальчик, наверное, не хотел бы сил, чтобы убить. Так.
What am I doing here? I've done nothing wrong.
Странно. Довольно странно.
Locked.
Непонятно. Ладно. Другая зацепка. Что же?
These are the suspect's belongings.
Ну ясно, я уже это все проверял.
These abbreviations mean something, but
Что же я упустил?
Mr. Holmes?
Ага, дай прийти.
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
Еще раз смотрим хижину, может быть, что-то упустил. Ну что же я мог упустить? Если я просил мистер... миссис Кери. Странное дело. Ну ладно. Ну да ладно. Так.
the
Интересно.
ship's logs of the Sea Unicorn.
Это интересно.
The Sea Unicorn. She was the ship that Peter Carey commanded. The Sea Unicorn. She was the ship that Peter Carey commanded.
Что тут у нас? Что же я мог упустить?
The garden is very large and well maintained. Do you employ someone to look after it?
It is true, there is a lot of work, but my husband took care of it himself.
Thank you, madam.
Сам говоришь. Ну хорошо. Допустим, даже так. Так. Довольно загадочное преступление.
It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Значит, мое подозрение, что это был садовник, отпадает. И раз это не следы, ну, съездим-ка на Бейкер-стрит.
Good gracious, you caught someone. At least now you have a suspect.
Brave Toby. The best nose in the British Empire.
Лучший нос Британской империи. Неплохо.
This is where I keep my post.
О, точно. Дело о банкротстве.
That is not the one I need.
В смысле? Вот. Так, инвестиционный фонд Доусона и Неллигана. Региональный банк Корнуэлла объявил о банкротстве в результате серьезных потерь по кредитному портфелю и готовится к ликвидации. Это был 23-й по величине банк в Англии, и его банкротство второе по масштабам в истории. Закрытие банка стало катастрофой для многих корнуэльских семей. Джошуа Неллиган, один из владельцев, вскоре таинственно исчез. В последний раз его видели на яхте, готовящейся к отправке в Норвегию. Неллиган разыскивается полициями и кредиторами.
Here it is.
Вот так-то.
Now I begin to understand that young man's story, but I am still unclear as to what connects him with the murder. It is time to ask him.
Да. Ага. Самое время спросить у него. Отправляемся в Скотланд-Ярд. Молодой человек, либо вы сознаетесь, что да как, либо вам не понимать.
I have heard the story of Dawson and Nelligan, the West Country bankers.
Yes, Joshua Nelligan was my father.
I am aware that it had a bad ending. When the bank failed, it ruined half the families of Cornwall, whereupon Joshua Nelligan disappeared.
My father was under extraordinary pressure. Dawson had retired. I was only 10 years of age at the time, but it was still old enough to feel the shame that befell our family. My father was convinced that he could pay off all his debts if the creditors gave him time. He set sail for Hammerfest in Norway in his small yacht, just a few days before an arrest warrant was issued. He left my mother a list of the securities he was taking. No word was ever heard from him again. We believe that his vessel went down, taking with it everyone and everything on board.
Thank you for the story, Mr. Nelligan. At last, we are making some progress.
Да, пожалуй.
Interesting. Joshua Nelligan and Peter Ceri were both at sea in Norway. There is definitely some connection between Peter Ceri and Joshua Nelligan's disappearance.
Судовой журнал.
These are the suspect's belongings. These abbreviations...
Так, это не то.
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
принципе, о связи можно спросить у жены. Но нужно...
1883. That's the one I need.
Нужно узнать все.
This is the crew list of the Sea Unicorn.
Питер Кери, капитан Чарльз Генсон, помощник Дион Джонсон. Ага, это список экипажа.
This is the crew list of the Sea Unicorn. Log notes for June. Nothing unusual.
Ничего необычного.
Log notes for July. Nothing special. Log notes for August. These pages have been torn away. Canadian Pacific Railway, CPR. A torn piece from a bond certificate. I have seen this abbreviation somewhere very recently. There are 3 ways of discovering what happened in August of 1883 aboard the Sea Unicorn. The first 2 of these will require speaking with a dead man. The last would be to locate vital witnesses, the sailors involved in this whale hunt campaign.
Уиггинс. Где-то на Бейкер-стрит. Хорошо. Хорошо.
Watson, I have the list of sailors who were aboard the Sea Unicorn. We shall soon learn what happened to Nelligan's father. I have only to find them. Let us hope they are still working at the harbour.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard...
I doubt it, Watson. And really, I would prefer that all of this remains quiet for now. But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist.
And who might they be?
The secret police division of Baker Street.
Ah, you mean young Wiggins and his gang?
Yes. Believe me, you'll receive more useful assistance from these little urchins than from a dozen yard detectives. Those children are everywhere. They see and hear everything, and they are cunning. All they lack is organization. I'll summon them.
How will you do that?
There is always a watch beneath our window. I have only to call him.
Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
Wiggins, I need you to track down certain people for me. I'll give you a list. You can read, can't you?
Big Oliver from our gang. He can, because his father is the coachman of a famous lawyer.
Fascinating. Here is the list of sailors.
Sailors? Easy. Just got to look where the rum and the red lights are.
Смышленый парень.
Sorry to trouble you, Mr. Holmes, but the inspector asks that you come to the station as soon as possible.
Thank you. I'll be there shortly.
Так. По какому же делу нас вызвали?
Mr. Holmes, I'm glad to see you.
As always, what happened?
We have a new suspect, Liam Hurtley. I'm thinking that this case will be resolved very quickly now.
Interesting. Pray tell.
Well, the constable that I left at Woodman's Lee noticed a suspicious individual prowling around during the night.
Do you have him here?
Yes. He refuses to speak with us, but we'll make him talk.
Let us hope so.
Ah, yes, and one more thing. The constable told me that at the time of his arrest, the fellow was writing a letter.
Do you have it?
Of course. It's in the evidence room. at your disposal. Admit that for once, Mr. Holmes, Scotland Yard is a step ahead of you, eh?
Breathtaking. These are the suspect's belongings. Liam Hurtley's old boots. They're a size 9.5. The stains are fresh. They can be removed with the proper chemicals. A pen. Nothing unusual about it.
Ух ты, неплохие рисунки. Пусто.
Please escort this suspect for interrogation. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes. I would like to ask you a few questions.
I've already told the police that I've nothing to say. And you're not even part of the police.
Precisely. And considering your situation, it might be wise to speak with someone who is, shall we say, rather more neutral. You are a suspect in a murder case.
I know. Inspector Lestrade told me. It's ridiculous.
Could you at least tell me who you are, and exactly what happened that you should be brought here?
My name is Liam Hurtley. That I can tell you. But you're not getting any more than that.
Well, we shall see.
Так. Шрам. С хохлатой синицей. Где-то я это уже видел. Следы растений. Руки садовника. Ха.
That's all for now.
Я был прав, 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 я был прав. Кто-то нам сказал. Этот кто-то миссис Кери. Так, у меня есть 2 разговора.
These boots match the footprints exactly.
Вот и дело идет к развязке. Если кое-кому кое-что скажу. И именно вам, врунишка. Давай.
Does the name Liam Hurtley mean anything to you?
No, I don't know anyone by that name.
Thank you, madam.
Who could do such a thing? My poor husband.
О, бедняжка. Ничего. Ничего, ничего. Я все раскрою. Черт. Вот что я нашел. Следы Хартли и нет садовника. Ботинки Лиама Хартли совпадают со следами Вудманс Ли, что доказывает его присутствие там. Джудит Кери отрицает, что он работал садовником. Так, чернила.
A new suspect, but this one refuses to talk.
Ух ты, груша.
This case is more interesting than I first imagined.
I need to prepare a chemical agent that is capable of removing fresh ink. For this purpose, The chemicals from the flasks should be combined in a certain order to perform a chain reaction. First condition, all 7 reagents should be used. Second condition, orange reagent should be the third one in the sequence after the blue reagent. Third condition, colorless reagent should be added after the orange reagent.
Ай, так.
First condition, all 7 reagents should be used. Second condition, orange reagent should be the third one in the sequence after the blue reagent. Third condition, colorless reagent should be added after the orange reagent.
Ну, хорошо, допустим. Берем зеленый. Заливаем. После берем синий. Добавляем. Оранжевый. Бесцветный. Синий.
No, something isn't right. I need to start the reaction from the beginning again.
Что-то тут не так. Ладно. Так, хорошо. Начнем, наверное.
No, something isn't right. I need to start the reaction from the beginning again.
Я сделал, как вы просили, хорошо их спрятал. Но я умоляю вас, изменить данные не я помните ваши клятвы. Я не совершил ничего недостойного, чтобы вы мне... Ладно. Отправимся в Скотланд-Ярд. Так.
Please escort this suspect for interrogation.
Woodman's Lee.
Tell me, Mr. Hurtley, what were you doing at Woodman's Lee?
Woodman's Lee? I've never been there.
The second pair of boots that you had with you when you were arrested perfectly match the footprints found near the cabin where Peter Keri was murdered.
Footprints? That's your proof? How many men have boots like mine? That doesn't make me a murderer.
So tell me, Mr. Hurtley, what did you hide?
Hide? What are you talking about?
I did as you asked and hid them well. Should I continue?
My letter? But the ink? That's impossible.
A touch of chemistry, nothing special.
Ничего особенного.
You're a smart one, but it's nothing. If you want to know, I was referring to my tools. It was to do with my work, see?
I will check that, Mr. Hurtley. Now that your presence at Woodman's Lee has been proven, would you care to explain it?
I don't remember. What would I be doing there anyway?
Стоп, в смысле?
Now that your presence at Woodman's Lee has been proven, would you care to explain it?
I don't remember. What would I be doing there anyway?
Because you are the gardener at Woodman's Lee.
I'm not. How did you...
I observed your hands. They told me that you work with the earth. Small fragments of plants snagged to your trousers indicate that you were mowing very recently. But the most obvious clue presented itself in the bird embroidered on your handkerchief. A crested tit, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, you got me. Yes, I am a gardener, and I went there to get my tools.
That's all for now. Hurtley's stories are false leads, but now I know one thing for certain. I must examine the site where the garden tools are kept at Woodman's Lee.
Это явно не в хижине. Возможно, здесь. Нет.
Madam, we have information that the valuable stolen papers are hidden amongst the garden tools here at Woodman's Lee. We need to find them.
Oh my. Our tools are kept inside the shed that's right behind me. Here is the key to open it.
Thank you, madam. Let's see what could be hidden here.
Та самая шкатулка.
Let us see what is in this box.
Отлично.
A bundle of letters in a woman's hand with the Keri family monogram. Hurtley and Mrs. Keri were in a relationship. That is interesting.
Вы были так добры ко мне все это время. что я вас знала. Я не могу описать свои чувства, но считаю их греховными. И ни к чему хорошему они не приведут. Я боюсь, что может случиться. Я боюсь идти против Бога. Я благодарю вас за работу, но я не могу оставить человека, с которым меня соединил Господь. Это была его воля. И мой муж — это мой крест, который я должна нести. Он превратил мою жизнь в ад, но синяки сойдут. И вам не нужно волноваться обо мне. Ай-яй-яй. Ай-яй-яй-яй-яй-яй. Как нехорошо.
Madam, I am aware of your affinity with Liam Hurtley.
What are you talking about?
Не знаю.
Mrs. Carey, we found your letters.
My letters? I asked Liam to return them to me. I wanted to burn them.
Why did Mr. Hurtley put them inside the garden shed?
I don't know. I wanted them back, but I couldn't see him, not after what happened.
Well, here they are.
Oh, this is terrible. Terrible. Liam, how could he? After what he has done.
You believe that he killed your husband?
No, I do not know. I do not know. Leave me alone, please.
Thank you, madam. I wonder if Wiggins has managed to find any sailors.
Ну вот, я довел ее до слез. Так, ладно. Нужно отправиться на Бейкер-стрит. Ну, простите меня, мадам, я не со зла. Наверное.
Found the sailors from that list you gave us.
Well done, Wiggins. Let me see. This man is a harpooner, and his initials are PC, the same initials that were found on the tobacco pouch. Wiggins, could you gather some information on one of the sailors that you found? His name is Patrick Cairns.
We found Patrick Cairns.
Good job, Wiggins. Where is he?
He lives in a small furnished dump of a room, but he's always at the Sea Witch pub, where he does arm wrestles for money and drinks.
Excellent. Here is your reward. 2 guineas.
Thank you, sir.
На, проваливай. Так. Если кисет принадлежит Патрику Кернсу, это указывает на его присутствие на месте преступления. Но это нужно доказать.
If I wish to speak to Cairns without alarming him, I had better dress as a sailor.
Моряк. То, что нужно.
Now I can approach Cairns and see if he recognizes the pouch.
Вау, как шикарно сделан паб «Морская ведьма». Так, теперь мы должны найти его. У нас вот.
Hello there. Are you Cairns?
What do you want?
We've heard all about the gambling and arm wrestling here. You seem like the likely sort, and I'm up for it.
I start at 10 shillings.
Suits me.
That's the arm that killed 100 whales. Care to lose another 10 shillings?
I'm ready to try again.
Fine. If you want me to take all your money, no problem with that.
Довольно-таки силен. Золотая серьга.
I'm ready.
Блин, мне нужно его выиграть, я не знаю. Это довольно сложно. Попробуем пропустить это дело. Бам. Я действительно
You
не
were
могу
lucky.
выиграть.
I wasn't focused. Let's go again.
I've had enough. You're too strong.
Come back later when you can use your arms again.
I'm ready.
Да,
Well,
это хорошо,
good
что
for you,
можно
I
скипать
reckon.
игры.
You're stronger than you look. Here's your 10 shillings.
I'd like to buy you a drink.
Good winner as well. That's good. Let's have a drink. You're a good type. Seems you've managed to settle down in life. You've got money, eh?
Not all that much.
Oh, well. At least you're not as poor as me.
Why do you say poor? You're not working?
I'm a harpooner. But you see, the whalers are rare. They don't pay much. So, as a result, find myself arm wrestling to pay for my drink.
Да.
A harpooner. Interesting. You've had a lot of adventures, I bet.
Of course. It's been a dozen years since I sailed. I've seen everything. Old Wallace, damn Black Peter, Great Roger, we sailed to the Cape of Good Hope.
Black Peter, you say? I've heard rumors about that one.
He was the worst of them all. He was a liar, and violent too, swinging those fists of his around. He was a tyrant, and not much of a captain. At least, not as good as Great Roger.
I see. Yes. I was told terrible tales about Black Peter.
But you ain't heard the worst.
Tell me, and let's have another drink.
It was in 1883 that it happened. The August of that year. Peter Keri was captain of the Sea Unicorn, and I was a spare harpooner. We were coming out of the ice pack on our way home. One evening, we saw a little craft that had been blown north. There was only one man on her, and he wasn't a sailor. The crew must have thought that she'd foundered, and they made for the Norwegian coast in the dinghy. I guess they all drowned. We took the man on board.
And who was he?
I dunno. During the crossing, he and the skipper enjoyed some long talks. His baggage was just a tin box.
That's strange enough.
Aye. Even stranger was that on the second night, he disappeared. Nobody knew what happened to him. And of course, nobody could ask Black Peter about it.
You know what happened, don't you?
I do. I saw the skipper tie his heels and push him over the rail in the middle of my watch on that dark night. 2 days before we sighted the Shetland lights.
Black Peter's a murderer.
Aye. Those that know him wouldn't be surprised to hear it. But all this must stay between us. All right?
Of course. Back in a second. I'm off to the Kazi.
I'll be here with my drink.
Here it is. Have you got any tobacco? I've run out of mine.
Nah, I lost my pouch. I don't know where. Wait a minute. What's this?
Oh, is this your tobacco pouch?
Well, oh, it is.
Well, I have to go now. I know a captain who's planning an expedition to Cape Cod. Captain Ahab's his name. He commanded the Pequod. He might need good harpooners. I'll tell him about you.
Maybe. If you like, aye.
I'm done here. It's time to leave.
И да, я был прав. О, да.
Case is solved. I am now ready to present the guilty party.
So tell me, who killed Black Peter?
It was Liam Hurtley.
That doesn't surprise me. I've never seen a guiltier-looking fellow.
He was in love with Judith Ceri. It caused a conflict that proved fatal for her husband.
I see. Come on now, let us confront him.
Liam Hurtley, you are formally accused of the murder of Peter Ceri. We are aware that you were in love with Ceri's wife. He was a violent and irascible man. He needed to be eliminated. You had no qualms.
But that's absurd. I'm innocent.
Well, we caught you, lad.
The case is resolved, Inspector. I shall return to Baker Street.
Very well, Mr. Holmes. Goodbye for now.
Лиам Хартли убил Питера Кери и попытался это скрыть. Благодаря вашим дедуктивным способностям вы установили его связь с Джудит Кери, как и то, что он был в Вудмансли. Вы решили отдать его под суд. Найдено улик 15, заключение Хартли виновен, приговор обвинить Хартли. Удерживайте, чтобы проверить себе. Спойлер. Угу. Хотите прийти к другому заключению, разыгрывается перед тем, как сделан моральный выбор. Блин. Вот черт. Ну ладно. Внимание, вы сейчас закончите это дело, сохраненные данные этого дела будут удалены. Нажмите «Да», чтобы подтвердить свой моральный выбор и перейти к следующей главе. Нажмите «Нет», если вы хотите сделать другой выбор. Ну, так как я буду честно играть, даже если я использовал спойлер, я продолжу, как ни в чем не бывало. Решившие делать так же, как вы, люди, сделавшие такой же моральный выбор. 45 человек. Хорошо. Рейтинг личности искатель. Ну, а на этом все. Спасибо за просмотр. Если вы почти с середины расследования поняли, что это садовник, ставьте лайки. Если вы думали иначе, все равно ставьте лайки. Пишите комментарии, на кого вы кинули свое подозрение. А с вами был freeGSOdemo. И, наверное, да. Пока-пока.